and welcome to the Horror Book Club podcast. I'm Joe, here with me is my co-host Dan.
Hello and greetings.
And we're almost at the end of the road here. This is great.
Sweet.
Yep. Now, from pages 258 or so to 294, or chapter 21 to chapter 24, well, stopping right before chapter 24, I should say. We have the continued hunt for Dracula. Starting with how Renfield collapsed. I just noticed one part. Yeah, he broke his back, and then he confesses that he tried to stop Dracula, because when he realized it was Mina that Drac was going after, he couldn't stomach the thought. Now with the kukri knife thing, Dracula broke and ran. So much for him being an alpha or something. Dude took one look at this scary guy, not quite his height, who, you gotta bear in mind, Dracula has the strength of 20 men. And he's been enhanced a bit because he's been drinking regularly. Blood, I mean, not booze. And
might as well be.
Yeah. And yet his reaction is, "You'll get yours on the way out." While Jonathan jumps down, pretty much jumps down from this, the second story, goes to give chase because, fuck that.
I thought Quincy Morris was supposed to be the action hero.
Yeah, no. Actually, it's Jonathan. He's totally awesome. I love Jonathan. He's probably, alongside Mina, my favorite character in this novel. What'd you think of that part, by the way, real quick?
Awesome.
Like I said, he should be played by someone like Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah, all that it's missing when he's jumping out of the window to chase after Dracula would be explosions behind him.
And the backflips. Well, you do the front flip, Power Ranger style down there. Now, as to this part, that was just a small recap. We just had a blast with because, well, it's really cool to talk about this. And how awesome. Oh, no, wait. That was this part. Yeah, I'm all mixed up today. But that was around page 286 of my edition. But before that, Mina has a nervous breakdown almost about the holy water burning her flesh. This proves to be very traumatizing for her. And later in the book, she keeps trying to cover that part of her forehead. Because she thinks of it as a dirty mark. That shows her beyond God's love, which you got to bear in mind this is a very Christian book. More Christian in some ways than Tolkien's work, but not as breaks and runs like a little. Yeah, I love that part and how you just have Jonathan ready to Jonathan is so impulsive here. Dude has no fear. Well, he does, but he doesn't give a damn because it's for his wife. Now that's true love.
He's a manly man.
Doing a manly thing by trying to take down Dracula. Oh, man. It's hilarious. I like how she tries to comfort her husband, who's like, no, I'm pissed. The real sad part was when she's like, now, this is where the, she basically says, out of sight, out of mind, right? But why need we seek him further when he has gone away from us? He, as in Van Helsing, took her hand and patted it as he replied, "Ask me nothing as yet. When we have breakfast, I will tell you." After breakfast, Mina repeated her question. He looked at her gravely for a moment, then said sorrowfully, "Because, my dear Madame Mina, now more than... Actually, it should probably be, dear Madame Mina, now more than ever we must find him, even if we have to fall into the jaws of hell." Why? Because he can live for centuries, and you are but a mortal woman. Time is now to be dreaded. Since once he put that mark upon your throat, and he kind of leaves it off there, and I was just in time to catch her as she fell forward in a faint. That's Jonathan reciting that part. Now, the reason she fainted, I think, is because, well, she was like, okay, if he's far away from me, I'm not under his spell anymore, am I? And that was a foolish thought, but it was just hope blinding her. And Van Helsing then told her, sorry, actually, no.
It's a very...
You're damned.
It may have been a stupid question, but it was a very human one.
Because she's in denial. Like, this is traumatic. So, like, basically...
She's handling it better than Lucy did.
Yeah, but the thing is, Lucy didn't realize for a while until what was happening to her, and when she did, she handled it by thanking Van Helsing for getting Arthur away from her. Remember that?
Yeah.
But Mina passes out because she goes, wait, so if I die and he's on the other side of the planet, I'm cool, right? No. You just as effed as him. Well, not as effed as Dracula. Nobody is. Dude's got a straight ticket to hell. But no. Actually, once you die, you're his. So long as you have that mark on your forehead. So long as, you're under that kind of undead curse, you're screwed. At which point she passes out because she realizes it's do or die here. Like
stress and anxiety.
Yeah, it's honestly, I've seen parts where female characters and even some male ones in the Victorian period literature faint, where it was really like, F off, dude, you suck. Either to the writer or to the character, and it's just, oh, come on. But here, I actually have a lot of sympathy because Mina's endured a lot, and the thing is, contrary to what people think, not people, but those profs. I'm getting back on this dead horse. I'm back to beating it. Mina actually did faint from shock, and she hates Drac. And you got to bear in mind, her first reaction when Drac is destroyed is to run up to Jonathan, wrap her arms around him, and basically make out with him. And scream, "Oh, Jonathan, my love, you have saved me," essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's her reaction.
Yeah.
She doesn't go, "Oh my gosh, what have you done? I was so going to thump that guy who can't get it up because he's undead. Because he's already a corpse." No, she didn't react like that. She reacted more humanly, and like anyone with any bloody common sense has, and any good sense, I should say, because common sense isn't that common. So we ought to rebrand it Good Sense. That's what it was originally known as, but I don't know how it got turned into common sense, as it doesn't seem very common to me.
Yeah.
But Mina, in this part, is truly the most tragic character, along with Renfield to an extent. Now, in the movie depictions, you never would think to pity Renfield.
Mm-hmm.
You might laugh at him in the Dracula Dead and Loving It movie that we love so much, but
because of how boobish she is.
Yeah, it's just the actor did a great job, and Mel Brooks did a great job. But in the actual novel,
he's a very pitiable figure.
I understand why some fans hate him. I think I've got a few friends who hate him because he let Dracula into Seward's home, and that's how Mina got, and Jonathan got screwed over there. We're never going to forgive Jonathan for that. And I agree, but at least Renfield, once he realized where he went wrong, at least he tried to go, "Oh, I have to stop this monster from hurting that dear lady." And what's interesting is that Renfield apparently fell in love with Mina at first sight. Now, she could never return his feelings because, she's got a man like Jonathan. But the thing is, there's a tragedy to Renfield there.
He was a very weak-willed man.
Yeah, and I do buy into him falling in love with Mina at first sight.
Yeah, and that's what caused him to...
It brought out the best in him.
Yeah, whether it was for love or lust.
Well, I argue love, if only because you got to bear in mind, lust would have driven him to even selling her out if he wanted, just to get her for himself. Love would mean wanting what's best for her, to be happy. And he didn't seem to mind taking a backseat to Jonathan.
Yeah, I'm just talking attracted to her physically.
Yeah, he probably was.
But
it was probably primarily emotional and whatnot.
Yeah, and he actually got the willpower to resist Dracula.
Yeah, I think
in the end and confess.
I like to try and look at this book in an idealistic attitude to an extent, as that's what the author wanted. Authorial intent does matter. Bram Stoker admitted that he wanted this novel to showcase how goodness in man and woman can overcome the worst evils in the world. And the worst evils imaginable.
It's a pity we don't have we didn't have more sanatorium heads that were like Dr. Seward.
Yeah, because what's interesting about John Seward is that Renfield himself mentions that deep down, a part of him likes Seward, and that a lot of the inmates liked him so much that they were disappointed that Lucy did not agree to marry the good doctor because, they were like, why would she turn down someone like Seward? He's a great guy. We like him too.
He's very sympathetic
To our plights. But the thing is, they exchanged a lot of gossip about it, and I think it's hinted that some of the nurses do as well. And from what I saw with how cooperative some of the maids were, some of them seemed to have a bit of a thing for him. Well, but the thing is, Seward may not be as good looking as Arthur or Quincy, or as dashing as Jonathan or Quincy, but dude is dependable as a rock. Like, no joke, he's dependable. Rock solid, intelligent, and boy, does he have empathy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the ideal doctor in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And him and Van Helsing, but each character does have their flaws. Van Helsing, I can't help but think, he's a little too gentle and soft at times.
Yeah.
Contrary to the popular view of him, where he's this either a hard ass who's impossible to deal with and a hateful individual, or a nice guy but also a hard ass. I don't know how the hard ass attitude came along because he breaks down crying quite a few times. He's gentle as a mouse, and he reminds me more of a grandfatherly guy who's just bursting into tears every time something goes wrong with his grandkids or his kids.
It's like they combine him with essentially probably Jonathan or Quincy.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Whereas Arthur and Seward are slightly harder asses than Helsing. Jonathan is just a great character, and Jonathan's flaw is just that at the beginning he's a little more timid and unsure of himself. But it's that whole hero's journey from boy to man.
Yeah.
Quincy tends to be impulsive, like the old accidentally shooting into the house when he sees the bat. Although I get why he got paranoid over bats, but dude has some impulsive problems. And actually, you see at the end of the book why this goes kind of wrong for the parties and him in some ways, because he's just such a hothead. Now, Jonathan gets a little hot-headed and hot-tempered, but Quincy's almost a match for him. Arthur has a hot-headed side, but not as much as Quincy or Jonathan, to an extent. But Arthur is just depressed throughout the book. Well, he lost the love of his life.
Yeah.
You feel bad for him. Seward is just too reticent. He wants to gather. He's Cyclops. He wants to think everything through, go over all the data, and never make a move until he can make a move. That's the problem with his response to these problems, is he often is too slow to respond in time. In comparison to Quincy and Jonathan, although he did cover for Jonathan when in a fight scene. He did great. So, yeah, I love this part of the novel. The next part's going to be pretty exciting, as we'll be going from chapter 24. Let me see. Chapter 24 to 27, which in my edition is 294 to 334. That'll be the next video. Then we've got the last 16 pages. That should do it. Yeah, so we're going to do the next 40 pages for next video. So if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell to stay tuned.